how about the three? I'll introduce who you are, and we'll get into the amazing interview. And don't worry about how y'all look. If you're sideways, you're sideways. We want to hear from you. It's your words that matter.
Well, thank you again for having us. We are MNC. My name is Matt. My stage name's Gibby. This is
Nelson.
And this is...
I'm Calvin. Bloom Bush.
Nice to meet y'all.
You guys can hear us, right?
Oh, yeah. You guys are perfectly crystal clear. So I really want to talk to you guys because, first of all, thank you for doing this, because this is technically have been a poetry sort of forward podcast, but we're actually branching out to a lot of different art mediums. And I've been saying this since day one, that we need to come together. Poets need to attach ourselves to comedians and musicians, because all three of us do the same thing. We just do it in different ways. You guys try to tell what you want us to know or feel, but you break us down with you disarm us with your humor first. And musicians.
Yeah.
That's me. That's me in the background. And poets, we just say it straight up. So let's get into who you are. Let's promote your shit, and so people can get to you. People know who you are, because comedians are great, right?
Mm.
Well, how did you guys become this amazing trio of comedians?
Well,
and what do y'all do?
I'll start with myself. So I've been doing comedy I've been performing for about like 6 years now. And when I first started, I was actually just going to like random open mics and kind of just trying my stuff out, because, the best way to hone your craft is to keep practicing. And like an open mic to me is basically just like going to the gym. You're just working that muscle. You're just making sure that you're diligent, you're consistent, and you're disciplined with it. And, I've known these guys for more than a decade at this point. And, actually, Cal, he can explain a little bit better, but he kind of influenced us to do this, the MNC.
So when Matt told me he wanted to start doing comedy, like, I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And there was maybe like one particular set that I seen him do after like many, like just going like an hour out, because we didn't have anything in like our local area, and just being like, bro, we could do this at home. Like we could have comedy at home. You know what I mean? So that was probably like 2 years ago, but like, I mean, we're doing it now. So that's pretty much like where how that went. But
yeah, I mean, one day I got a call from Matt to come over to his house, and Cal was here. They had the round table set up. I'm like, I thought you were gonna play Monopoly or something. And then we just started talking, and we all agreed that we have to find a way to, use our skills and talents to make moves. So we all agreed that Matt had it going on in comedy. I went to a couple of his open mics, enjoyed my experience there. Cal's been with him. We've all been supporting him, and so we decided to start it up in the city, because Reading doesn't really have things like that. So you want to.
And can you let everybody know, because we're international, that's, if you're a fan of the show, they know what that means, because we have fans from all over the globe. So even though we might not be able to see you live, but where is the city that you speak of? I believe it's Reading, Pennsylvania is what I corrected,
Reading,
but is that the city you're talking about?
Yes. Yeah. Reading, Pennsylvania, about an hour away from Philly.
Yeah, go Birds.
Go Birds.
It's about 5.5 hours away from Cleveland, because I just went and saw a band there. So it's a nice town. But what's with all the stop signs? Why is there a stop sign on every corner?
It's ironic, because no one even really uses them. But they're there, but they're suggested.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny.
It's optional.
Stoptional.
Stoptional. You should have a call. You should have a show called Stoptional. I don't know. It could be a soul comedy skit with it. It's a stoptional situation. That's a shirt right there.
Stop you. You might keep you going. It's stoptional.
I mean the potholes.
It is optional.
We just created a theme. Perfect.
Well, Andy, and also to the crew over there on my right-hand side. I might be on the left and some other folks, but the reason I bring that up, because I've been driving around the country as of late, as the start of this year, and each area has their own distinct driving issues. And again, you have the stop sign issue. Jersey has no left turn, so that's why everybody's pissed off all the time in Jersey. Nobody moves in Alabama. They stay at red lights. They stay at green lights. They just don't go. So it's really
no. So okay, no, hold on, wait. I never heard there's no left turns. What the? Wait, no, because I'm from New York, but Brooklyn, but I live in oh my God, I live in Jersey, but so in New York, no, in Jersey, you could turn on red. But in New York, you cannot do that.
You can turn,
and it's weird because
in Alabama on red. We saw that happening. You can turn left on red in Alabama.
Oh,
so if you're just joining us, we're talking about the traffic patterns of the United States. No, just kidding. We're talking to these three over here on my right, underneath Andy. This is Calvin, Nelson, and Matt, MNC Corp. They're comedians in Reading, Pennsylvania. Y'all do. Like, where else can they check out your work? And then when did comedy become like your passion? When did you decide to disappoint your parents?
Well, it started when I first was born. They're like, oh, damn. But definitely for like the passion part, I've always been like a naturally funny guy. And like everyone said, oh, you should do comedy. You should do comedy.
Yeah, you're real fucking funny.
Yeah.
So I actually met you. I met you, and he was just laughing at my shit. So he's hilarious. Actually, you know what? You guys know Matt, but you know how I knew Matt was a funny guy? When we took the picture. Okay, first of all, did he tell you the story about how this all happened?
No.
Andy, do you know the story why we had this people here?
Yeah, I know.
I'm just trying. Story of why we're here tonight. So on my poetry adventure, you know, when I saw you, I met Queen Liberati. Oh my God, that amazing adventure. I went and did an open mic, and then I was stuck in Pennsylvania for another day. And people who do comedy said, hey, join me. We're going to do some comedy. And I go, okay. I've never done comedy before. And it's like, they're closing the cafe now. This is like an emotional night, by the way. And I just walked in and like, I've been there the whole time. I did a comedy set, never done in my life. I should never do it again in my life. But I knew you were funny because when we took the photo, you're like, first really, hey, you be in the phone. I'm like, you're going to look at this photo 20 years from now, be like, who's this bitch from Cleveland? I don't know who this is.
Oh, but my
you have to do this. Does he have to, like, he was like squatting in front of everybody. Like, he was having to make sure the most hilarious pose for this picture. That's how I knew you were funny, dude.
I mean, it was funny because, like, yeah, when you did your set, I was right after you. And, like, I made a little joke after. I was like, it's more, she wasn't really doing comedy. It's more like she was doing therapy to the whole group. And, like, it was a good time. It was a good time. Like, yeah, like, we went to Little Abbey's.
My life is so fucking horrible. It's hilarious. That's what happened. You know what I mean?
You were literally on the ground, just, like, letting it all out.
That's when I had to throw in the towel, friends. When I literally, as a 41-year-old woman, laid on the ground to demonstrate something I envisioned in my life. And it was funny to me, but
only 41.
I knew it was not funny, and I needed to roll my ass away. But you brought up a good point. I actually didn't I didn't want to cut my wrist after that, though, even though it was embarrassing as it was, because you're right. You have to kind of do that to work through the craft. So how, you said 6 years. Remind me again, Calvin and Nelson, how long have you been in the game?
Well, I'm mostly, I'm like the primary comedian. Like, I remember Cal, he's tried it one time too, so he kind of understands your feeling where it was like, you know.
Yeah. But I wasn't the worst one. Can we be honest? I wasn't the worst one of the night.
You know, you had some good times. I helped you out as a crowd member. I was making sure.
Yes and no. Yes and no. You were giving me good, but then I thought you were like making fun of me.
I definitely was.
I know. We're going to get into that for sure, because I actually think it's great. Andy, go ahead. Yes, you in the back.
All right. No, yes, because I'm like trying to get something. She just like, I'm like, oh my God, like you were faster than Dominican people. You know, like, no. I don't know, whatever. No, so comedy, I do have a question about comedy, and it's always been an interesting thing, right? Because it's not like, I don't think it's like when you write poetry, okay, you write a poem, you recite it how, you know, you speak it how you want it to be delivered, and people resonate with it. Oh my God, it's so good. Talk to me about when you're coming up with material, because that is something I've always wondered. Like, yeah, you know, I know some people use life experiences, but I don't think it's something like, oh, you should just know my humor because I'm saying it and it's funny, but rather it's a structure. Like, can you explain that? Like, how does that look like for you guys as far as like coming up with material and then how to deliver, the delivery, all that stuff?
I mean, I'm not like the primary comedian, but like just being like one of his groupies, you know, it's like I think that like you hear the saying art imitates life a lot. So, you know what I mean? Your medium, it's the same art form, it's just different mediums, right? So like
Absolutely.
we'll be at our job and something funny will happen and we'll just start riffing at the job and we'll be like, that's a
Mm.
joke. Like, you know what I mean? Like write that down, you know what I mean? And like let's
Hmm.
like our life is the punchline, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so it's like, you know
Mm.
what I mean? So like just like walk people through it essentially. But I I know like since he started and since he told me like we were just in the like on the way there we were making jokes like on the way back we were making jokes like playing basketball we were making jokes. So like I mean I'm not like the primary comedian, but like I know that I at least wanted to bring that up. Like art imitates life for sure. But yeah.
I got
Yeah,
Is
a
also,
question though,
yeah.
real quick. Can you just can we clarify what you mean by primary comedian? Like, are you not doing jokes? Are you just like hyping everybody up, or you are doing jokes and you're just giving him like he's the guy who's been doing it for long? Can you define what that means, just for me?
well, my man Matt right here is the comedian of the group. You know, we all have different roles, and his role is for the comedy. That's
Awesome.
what
So,
we meant.
okay, what are the other two roles then? Because this is now we're getting some layers here. We're getting some layers here. This is a corporation, not just three comedians. Okay, please tell me what's going on here. How does this whole thing? Who are you? What do you do? We already know Matt tells jokes.
Matt tells jokes. I do the merchandise right now, so the hats that we all have on.
Where
I'm
can they
working
get
on those.
those?
They can get them hitting us up on our Instagram MNC_Corp, and when you contact us, we'll take your order and we'll make it, and then if you're far, we'll ship it out to you. If you're locally, we'll bring it to you.
Oh, oh, look at that. Now that's a sexy situation right there.
And then
Very sexy situation.
and my man Kyle's role, he's more the business end, you know, like the LLC side and all that stuff. He takes care of all that, and social media manager. That's what he does.
Yeah, Cal's a really great coordinator, and he kind of helps us out with the bigger picture of everything. He's like, all right, this is where we can be. So like I'm here helping out the entertainment part. Nell has like the merchandise aspect there, and then Cal helps us out, bring it all together, and
The
it's
business end.
it's all just like you said, three heads coming in together for MNC and also for the open mic that we have as well.
One team,
So, question.
one
Yeah.
voice,
No, go ahead.
two together.
There you go.
Write that down. Write that down.
Hey,
You're the one in the middle.
wait, but isn't there a. No, but I think there's a band called something like. I think there's a band called Together. Maybe I'm wrong. But, hold on. Question. So, as far as the name, I'm assuming this is probably the dumbest answer I'm probably gonna ask, and I think it's pretty obvious what I'm about to ask, but I'm assuming the MNC stands for your names. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Can I
It's a
tell
good
you
assumption. Yeah, that's a pretty good
This
assumption.
Can I tell you
this guy's
something
Sure.
funny, Andy? It took me an hour to figure that out. Like, I just figured that out because I thought you were going to go by your stage name. So I didn't even put M as Matt together. So I'm like, what the hell is this from? But Calvin, I got to talk to you. Can you tell me about the LLC thing? Like, what's the deal with that? How did you get into that? Because that's Andy.
I mean
This is what
at the end at the end of the day, I think that so like there's other things that we want to put our hands into. This is just I think that we're kind of like transitioning into like that part where we have to like kind of monetize and like try to like give
Mm-hmm.
back. So like for me, I know I'm not ready to give up gaming. So if there's any gamers in here, you know what I mean, look out for us on that end. But right now, like we're focusing on comedy, and we've had a couple different mics where there was mixed mics. We had people singing, we had poets, and I like in my head, like I've always kind of like grew up in like the art scene, and I never thought that these like the mediums would mix. but it's definitely like more of like a Jackson Pollock kind of thing, but it works. You know what I mean? It really stands out. And you know what I mean? To see like a comedian follow like a singer and it work, it's it's kind of jarring, but you know what I mean? It's what we like, what I like, it's what we envisioned, you know what I mean? So we're just
That's
taking it a day at a time.
no, and that's good because it's like you're showing that there's diversity in one place, and that's good. That's important, right? Because and this is what I was talking to Angela a while back about what I wanted this platform to be, right? Because it started off with just poetry, but then a lot of people who are in the poetry community, they're also musicians, they're also artists as well, like they do painting and stuff like that. So I try to capture that as much as I can. We had our first music session live. Her name was Electric Armchair, and she was just did like a little album release party on the live where she was singing new material. Hey, this was going to be on the album, and then we would have conversations about it. And it's just it was different than what we usually did, but it was back to what you were saying, the diversity. Like you said, I think the event that you guys did, right? On paper, it shouldn't make sense, but it made sense. If that makes sense.
When
It's like, wait, mathematically, I'm like, wait, the quadratic equation does not work, but yet the answer made sense somehow. And it's like, oh, so it does work. I could use Kirchhoff's voltage law, maybe,
Yeah.
if quadratic equation doesn't make sense. I don't know. I'm trying to be funny here.
Yeah, I mean,
But
the math doesn't need the math for it to make sense, right? You'll
I
get the
feel
right
like
answer.
I feel like
it's all about the physics.
I feel like a big component of that working, of mixing the mic like that and it working, is the fact that if you can create a positive environment and a good vibe for everybody to have a good time, and not let everybody anybody feel pressured or that they're gonna be made fun of or anything like that. I feel like we do a great job as a team with that, so everybody feels comfortable to do what they do. We even had people that just went there to be a part of the crowd, and those sign up because they just feel so good at the event. So pretty proud about that.
That's good. That's good. And so what is it like when you created the platform, right? Like what was it like if it was like any main objective to it? Because you said it was comedy and you did say that you want to venture out to other things. What is it about it that wants you to do that?
I mean, like all right. So then, for like from like my perspective and like,
Can you see, Kyle?
All three of us,
No,
or
no, I only see
yeah,
Burgundy guy.
I don't think it's gonna.
all three?
Yeah,
Nah,
so you might have to just push back a little bit if you want to do it that way. That's fine. It's it's all good, man. But go ahead.
All right.
There we go. Sexy situation right there just took place.
Okay, you can still hear us really well?
Oh yeah, I hear you perfectly fine.
But yeah, nah, like so I mean, like I'm from the hood, so like you know what I mean? I'm just like, I mean, most of it's like hood dreams, but like again, like when we're seeing it like on paper and then like we see it live, like these things are obtainable, you know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, I mean, I spent a lot of time gaming, and you know what I mean, it was kind of therapeutic, you know what I mean? I could get into my story, but I think that may be something for another time. But um I just realized I wasn't really willing to give it up, and I've met so many people from from different places, from like around the world, and like Matt has met so many people through his comedy. Like I know Nell has met people through like through traveling, through just networking. You know what I mean? So it's just like, at the end of the day, like if I could bring it all together, like if I could tie all these things together, I think that and I could do it with my best friends, why wouldn't I try? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So it's like, you know what I mean? And if I can create safe spaces for people, if I could influence culture, if I could do yada yada, I just, you know what I mean? Like, why not? You know what I mean? Like, what's the alternative to not do it?
right. No, I 100% agree, which is why I created Unraveled Influence in the first place too, because at the end of the day, it's all about, like you said, the safe space, and I admire you guys for that because you're bringing something that I feel like it's it's everywhere, but it's not like everywhere, if that makes sense. Like what I mean is like it's not in a place where okay, people just want to get famous. Rather though, you're doing it because you want to make people laugh. You want to have people
Yeah.
have a good time, build a community, and you do. I want to do it for the right reason, not just because I want to chase clout, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. And that's what it is too, because that's why when I created, because there's so many platforms that exist here too, whether it's art and poetry or whatever, but I wanted to be something different. And I noticed what's the one thing no one really does is, it's what we're doing, an interview, having a conversation. So I say, you know what, let me do that because it's different. We'll have an open mic and we'll have these conversations virtually. And it's just been a great thing since January. And we're about to have our first in-person open mic in October 20th. And it's just the whole, now we're expanding. Now we're going to try something different. And the response was just tremendous because I didn't think I was going to get a lot of people. I actually have a good 15 people that I've signed up for that open mic, plus whatever locals there in my town. Because where in my town, there's no art in my town, but it's a very high demand. So I'm capitalizing that as much as I can because it's needed. There's so much negative in this world. And realistically, it's like, yo, we got to just break that ceiling of negativity and like get all the positive out there, whether it's poetry, resonation, whether it's a laughter, and stuff like that. Because you want to provide that safe space for that. Hey, let's just have a good time. Let's just forget about our problems. Let's just not worry about who broke up with who or what drama's going on. Let's just laugh. Let's cry. Let's have a good time, and that's it. And I think that's awesome that you have that. Also, I do have my bad. Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll put whatever question was on the.
Well, I just want to add
here.
what you guys were saying, especially with you saying like, in your area, you have a high demand, but there's no real place to actually do that supply. So like, that's the same thing for us in Reading. There's a lot of places that are just like bars. So all everyone gets to do is like, you just go out there and drink and, just drink your sorrows away, but there's never a place for like real entertainment and real like and for me being a comedian and like going to open mics just to work on my craft, it is difficult because like the closest mic to me is 40 minutes away. So there's that like it's that thing I have to work with. Like I want to go out, but then gas is expensive. Everything is just going to keep raising.
Yeah.
Us that we can do, and we got we were able to build a nice establishment and a nice just like venue where people can come out and we're seeing that it started with comedy, but it's evolving to being like poetry, musicians, and everything blending together, possibly a magician, bringing magic back.
Yeah.
It's really fun, and it's really great to see all these come together when even after, because like I host, so I'm basically like I have control of the show. I want to make sure everyone has a great time, and I want to make sure that energy is great, vibes are on point. So even after the show, people are like, "Oh, it was great, it was awesome." Like I never knew like they had something like this. The city needs that. They're going to be coming out. So people who are like now they have something to do on that day. It's not just we're going to go like we're going to go see something. We're going to actually feel something. We're going to be able to really like
something to look forward to.
Appreciate the city more than what they normally would.
And for some people, the open mics are an outlet to express whatever they're feeling when they don't have anybody else to talk to. So that's a huge benefit of the mic as well.
Yeah, and like we're building talent in a sense too, because we've gotten a lot of people who are doing like their first time performing at our show. And then they're coming back, and I can see them like improve on doing comedy. I'm seeing comedians who like started here. They're like, oh, like I'm coming back next week. I got material. I want to work on this, and like we're able to really like have them be like, this is their spot where they can like, this is where I started. This is where like able to really like build my career in this art. So that's something that really hits to me, and I know it hits to these guys, because we're just seeing people who are like starting up from us and then able to see them grow to be whatever they want to be.
Amen to that. So the question was on the audience. It says, since it's almost proven that poets can do comedy, do you think that comedians can do poetry?
It's so ironic that you said that, because our last show, yesterday, we had a comedian do a comedic poem, and it was hilarious. Everyone loved it. He has like a tagline now, so like it really, I really feel like both mediums can work, because we also we have like this one poet who came back to one of our previous shows. She was cracking jokes before she even started her poem, so it's like giving the people the space. They're able to see like, oh, okay, like, you know, like when people think about like comedy, like, oh my god, like it's so hard to do, like, you know, like, you know, it's something I can never do. But like realistically, all it is just being able to just change that perspective of what you think could be, you know, bad, into something funny and good. And I really think that poetry and comedy, even though they look like opposite sides of the same coin, they're still on the same coin.
I love that. I love that. You guys agree, I guess?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
definitely agree with what Matt said.
yeah, no, I definitely agree. And that's the thing, like, and that's like I've known Matt since I was like 14. So like,
Okay.
maybe 2 weeks ago, we had the mix mic, and I heard him like he was like, "Yeah, by the way, I'm gonna try poetry," and I was like, "All right, yeah," like, but he floored me, like, you know what I mean, like, so like I think that we're all like we all have the capacity to do these things, you know what I mean, but like
Right.
for see anybody do it, like, you know what I mean, you like, you know what I mean, like you got your fearless people out there, but I think that what really like did it was like we brought it to the city, and then we had first timers, you know what I mean, we had first time poets, you know what I mean. One of the big things that happened was we got double booked with somebody that does something similar in our city, and they were like, so how do you run this? And they were just doing something strictly poetry, and then we were doing comedy, so we was like, why don't we just run it as one big event with like an intermission?
Wow.
And then we had like it was again, like it didn't, in your head you're like, this shouldn't work.
It was so organic.
But it did, because it was just organic, like it was raw, and like really, like I think that like you really, like you talk about there being like a lack of art, and I think there's so many voices and there's so much talent in where we're from, and I'm sure there's a lot of places like that where, like, you know what I mean, they just want to be heard, you know what I mean, like, so I
Yeah.
think what it comes down to.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you on that. So the questions for Nelson: where do you get the ideas for the logo on your merch? How do you do the merch designs? What inspires you?
Well, I've always been into the whole making my own clothes. I always said that I always wanted to get to the point in my life where I'm just rocking my own stuff. And
Ah.
before we started MNC, I was actually working on my own like brand for hats, and that's when I got a hat presser, and I figured out how to get the heat transfers to put for the logos to put on the hats. I did on my I was just learning step by step with my cousin, and then once we got together and formulated this plan, I just incorporated what I knew about making clothes into the brand. But also Cal is definitely a big help as well, because he's a really creative mind, and he basically made this logo for us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Wow.
basically made the logo for us, and I just did the rest and put them on the hats.
I can break it down for you.
Yeah. Go ahead. Listen, I'm intrigued. Please break it down, brother.
Yeah, nah. So, like, so yeah. Let's put it on like this joint. This is a water bottle. This real ghetto.
No, we do it even better here.
Hey, this it works. It works, man.
Yeah. All right. So like, the three stars represent us, right? And then like, my favorite team is Real Madrid. I'm sorry for anybody else who got different soccer football team. I had to do a shield, and then like I kind of played off of like the way that they do like their lettering. But then, you know, the C is me, and then the M and the N. But it's like, so this is like a badge, you know what I mean? Like, so like we want to create like something that people can belong to, you know what I mean? And then the banner is as simple, you know, that's like when we started. So this is the first year. So that's pretty much it. It's real simple, but yeah, no.
Hey, but listen, you said simple, but I look at it. Okay, but there's a story
Yeah.
there.
a lot of
There's a
depth.
symbolism there. There's a importance there. There's a foundation there because it represents, each star represents something, and then the symbol represents a thing, and it's like that's important. There's a story behind all that, and it's like I always say, everybody has a story to tell, right? So again, that's important. Um, so what you said, you were talking about the branding, because when you were talking about that, I was thinking about Jay-Z back in the day where he used to rock Iceberg, and then he did one of his concerts, and everybody was rocking, Iceberg, and then he realized, oh, what if I do my own thing? And then everybody started wearing Rockaware. So it's like, I think in that same regard, I would assume it'll be the same thing where like you'll rock your own clothes, your own thing, and you doing what you're doing now with the platform, it'll make people want to be, oh, I want that hat. It looks cool. I want to get that hat.
Yeah.
They say, for example. So that's cool. Like, I love the fact that you guys doing that. So you said, so yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, even before we made these hats, because we just made them, they at the open
Yesterday.
mics they would at the open mics they would rock my old hats from my old brand.
I
And
still have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to grab it. See,
So the support system's always there. We always try to encourage one another to do what we believe in and what we love. So I think that's works so great.
realize how close they are too.
Yeah, like similar designs. If you look at this one right here, this
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brand.
yeah, similar styles. Because like I said, we're huge soccer fans.
Okay.
Huge stuff.
So yeah, I mean,
That's okay.
we're here to support each other, and like I said, all three of us, we know if we put our minds together, we can definitely accomplish anything we want. And like we're definitely in like this grind set mode right now, and we have a lot of other things that we want to incorporate and like move forward to besides just doing like open mics here,
Right.
stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, and I get what you mean because I know with this platform that I'm doing, Unraveled Influence, that's eventually my goal for next year. LLC is definitely one of those things, but definitely I want to go to different places and start hosting open mics. And this is like the first one I'm doing in Bayonne, in my town. But I felt, okay, if this can go well, then this is gonna motivate me now to go somewhere else. 'Cause I know other poets that live in Jersey, but that, like, Bayonne's too far for them. But then they wanted to go, but they can't go. But it's like, okay, but now that's gonna inspire me and motivate me to wanna, oh, maybe I want to go to Asbury Park and see what's going on and do that too. Like it's all about not just only branching out, but also to go where things are needed, where foundations are needed, where voices are needed to be heard, and that, again, that's very, very important. So again, so much respect for you guys for doing that. What do you say? Like, what would you say would be the main vision for all this after everything is all said and done?
I mean, the main vision, I think, for all of us, and we've all kind of discussed it, is that we want to be able to bring culture into the city, change what people think Reading is, and like kind of make it to where it's not just the bad image that people explain it to be, that it's a place where art can thrive and grow and people can really be who they want to be. And, we're able to be collaborative. It's not just like, oh, like, if you're in Reading, you're by yourself. Like, no, like you are here to work with everyone, and we're able to come together to show something really great. And I think us going by example, leading by example, we can have other people be inspired, and then we can all just make this city way better than it is. I mean, going to other mics in other places, they're like, oh, Reading? You mean reading? Because like the way it's pronounced, the way it's spelled.
Okay.
I want meaning to be behind the name, not just a joke.
Yeah.
Right.
And one thing too is in Reading, there's a lot of like hookah lounges and bars and stuff. So our goal is also to create a space where people that don't want to be just partying and getting drunk all the time and are looking for different things to do, they don't have to always leave the city to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if we create things for people to do around the city, then that would definitely be a plus for us.
Yeah.
Got you. Go ahead. You were gonna say something?
I genuinely think the sky is the limit. Like I brought, like, I mean, like we're all like so ambitious. We're all so talented, and it's not really even about like it's not even really about the money. Like I know that like there's gonna be a lot of give back in what we're doing. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a lot of like reciprocity when it comes to like, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna inspire people, and we're gonna hear people's testimonies, and it's just gonna be, you know what I mean? Like I've heard people even to speak about like our like people like they'll come off the mic and just be like, you could like see it in their eyes. They're like, wow, this is really happening in my town. Like,
Yeah.
so it's like, you know what I mean? I feel like it's generally we're just a part of something special. You know what I mean? So I think
Amen. Amen. And have you, I wanted to comment on something you said about the Reading thing. That's crazy because Nirvana back in the day, they used to do like the Reading festivals and stuff. So that's what I was thinking about. And I used to say the Reading Festival. So it's kind of funny you said that too. So it just reminded me of that. Um, have you guys, okay, have the three of you always been in that part of Pennsylvania your entire life?
Yeah, so like I'll start with me. So like I moved here when I was 7. I used to live in upstate New York, and there's always a little
Mm,
like if you're not from if you're not from New York City, you're not from New York. So
I've heard that. Yeah,
right.
I've heard that.
So I moved here when I was 7, and like I was kind of stayed in the same school district, and like when I think we were in 9th grade, that's when I first met Calvin, because he came to the same school district as me, and I kind of just like lived in Reading. I moved out a little bit, but came back. So just mostly stayed here and kind of just see like how much this place has changed and how much this place has changed me as well.
I was
Okay.
I was born in Harlem, New York, and I lived there for about like 2, maybe 3 years. Then we moved to Jersey, and then after Jersey, my parents moved back to DR for some time. My brother even started school out there. We were there for like about like a year and some change, or maybe 2. And after we came back from DR, I had moved to Reading, and that was around 4th grade.
Mm,
And I met Matt after high school. Actually, I met him like a year after I graduated, 2014. I think.
mm.
Those are the days.
Yeah, I met him working at a factory.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then the crazy thing is about me and Cal is that we never knew each other during high school, but we hung around all the same people. Like,
I
That's
remember. I
crazy.
remember Nelson. Nelson don't remember me. Okay.
Wow, look at that. But here you are, right? How crazy that is. And it's interesting because it's like one of those things like that. Like you ever meet someone, but you don't remember how you met them. Or let's say you meet someone, you're like, damn, I feel like I've seen you before. It was like one of those kind of situations I see. And it's interesting because look at the irony, right? Because now here you are. I remember you, but you don't remember me. But look, here we are. We're collaborating and we're creating this safe space for comedy and people to have a good time. So, I mean, look at that, you
Yeah.
know?
Because they got reacquainted through me,
Yeah.
because
That,
Nelson, we met through the factory and stuff, and then like Calvin, he's been my friend for so long. So Nelson,
What's crazy is I met Nelson before I met Matt, and that's because I was at like there was like a satellite school because the high school was so big where we're from that like they had to create a new school. So I was born in the high school that I went. Like it was an old hospital.
ah,
Oh, that's
So
not a
like
okay.
joke. That's
before
legit.
I
Oh my
met
gosh.
before I met Nelson, or before I met Matt, I met Nelson for like it was like 2 weeks maybe that I was like at that school.
yeah.
Wow.
yeah,
No, yes, yep. No, that's great. Look at that. But like, yeah, look at the irony behind that. And then again, here you are doing your thing, you know. Angela, you had anything to add to that?
Absolutely. So, real life gets in the way, but hearing everything, I just really love the camaraderie of the three of you, how you're pushing each other to create this future for all three of you. And again, things will come to you because it's not about, like you said, monetary gain. It's about the inspiration gain, the connection gain. And to hear that you guys really are all about the hometown, the hometown, the hometown. Are you guys thinking about the future? Will you guys expand past the hometown?
I
If you
think
if
for
you
us,
need a spot in Bayonne, let me know. The spot that I'm gonna have my open mic in, let me know. I can because they're
Our
looking for everything. They love
open
art.
mic.
our open
Yeah.
mic.
So no right, but
Yeah, that's smart. You gotta let them know.
I think
Well, I'm
Yeah.
driving away from Cleveland. Okay, give me my credit, man.
All
that's
right,
true.
fine. All right. I'm just kidding. No, but in Bayonne though, like there is a high demand for different types of art. So I think if you guys want to try eventually expand to Bayonne, let me know, man. I got the connection.
We appreciate that.
that, man.
I think like the biggest
Yeah.
that we want to keep like Reading home base in a sense, and
Yes. Exactly.
expand out forward to kind of bring people in, like bring
Mm.
like an attract,
Mm.
like go out to different places and be like, oh, you liked our stuff, this is where we're going to be at, come to us.
Exactly.
Kind like a black hole in a sense, like but it's
Yes.
blend.
Yeah.
Because Reading is not far from some of those other kind of metropolitan areas where they have more. It's not, right?
Yeah,
No.
it's like an hour from Harrisburg, less than an hour from Harrisburg. It's an hour from Philly. You got
Okay, that's a little bit more of a clout city than Harrisburg.
yeah.
I mean, if you're from PA, Harrisburg is.
I know that's a capital. I know state capitals, man.
Yeah.
See, oh, there you go. Very nice, very nice. You got your
I'm a
geography.
teacher by trade. Come on.
Yeah, you had to look that up though. No.
Don't you
That's
dare question my understanding of the state
He
capitals
like,
now.
look,
But
y'all
you're
got jokes.
biology
Try to-
though.
We
You're
try to break.
science.
But you guys, you said a lot of important things that I think I would just want to remind everybody what was really powerful about why we're connecting to the three of you tonight. First of all, I love this kind of Ocean's 11 thing that you guys got going on where you each have your own expertise. You know what everybody's doing. You probably all have a say in what everybody's doing, but one person's in charge and that's their focus. Like Andy, that's really like everybody's doing everybody's job. You're not going to get anywhere. Where the three of you are very smart about what you're doing. So you have that going for you. And that's really good collaboration. And I definitely want to get into how the three of you work together. And two, because I'm going to come back to one. Two is all about the connection you're making, being open to poetry. How was that? How was that when the poet came up? I know you guys talked about it briefly, but to be open to that, how was that? Like you did create a good vibe in the energy?
Well, actually, even before that, the poet that came yesterday, had a mixed mic the last week, and with how many poets? Like 5, maybe 6 poets there.
Yeah.
And it was mixed like a poet, then a comic, a poet, and a comic. And I feel, like I said earlier, I feel like we create a positive environment for everybody to themselves, that nobody feels any negative ways about performing. And even if somebody's nervous, everybody will cheer them on. So I feel like everybody just plays off everybody else's emotions. So if they're happy, it makes this group happy, then everybody starts talking, get real interactive, which creates for a great show.
And to kind of bounce off to what he was saying is like when we first started, like we mostly did open mic for comedy, but they were both saying like even in the crowd they're like, oh, like the comedy's great and all, but like, we kind of like, do like poetry and stuff. So we had like a little like snippet of like, okay, we can do different venues. People are interested. The atmosphere is great. So people are coming out and they want to do different things. And like, we're starting to see like this might slowly evolve to be more than just doing comedy. It's just all about of art.
Because people
Figure that out.
need this. People need this. They need a place to be together. And you guys mentioned that earlier. Instead of just going to a bar, this is something to do. This is something people are growing from. Now, let's go back to the collaboration for a second.
Wait, I just want to say something. I just want to say one thing to add on to what you said, because who's to say, and it just came to me now because of what you just said. You guys are doing this, right? Let's say I'm just some random Joe Schmo. I'm there. And what if, let's say I'm a guy that likes to make people laugh. I would like to do something like that, but I wouldn't know how to go about that. I walk into the bar one day and I see you guys doing your thing. I'm looking at this like, damn, you know what? And then while you guys are doing the open mic, you guys doing the thing, all of a sudden you tell, hey, if you're here for the side, this is our story quick, and you blah, 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 right? But it just hearing that person might be like, damn, you know what? They can do it. Why I can't get into that? It might motivate them to want to maybe step out of their shell. And maybe they want to do their own thing. Maybe they want to start actually getting out of their comfort zone and be like, you know what? I want to start doing comedy too, because I like to make people laugh and stuff like that. So why I can't do it? They got their story, and that's amazing, you know. And I'm thinking in that same regard, I think that's also important to the fact that what you guys are doing might motivate somebody else to want to do the same thing, and then the more, the better, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, I kind of like give you a little walkthrough, like how the mic usually starts. Like, you know, like I'm the host, and then Nelson charges the signups and stuff. So like, you know, we'll be right there, and we'll have people coming in, and we'll have people who are like interested. They're like, oh, like I never heard about this place. You guys are doing like this and that. That's awesome. And then like they'll see more people coming up. They'll see the atmosphere, and then I've seen it happen where they'll go up to Nelson and be like, you know what, just put me on, man. Just sign me up. I want to try. And it's so beautiful and organic too.
And while all that's happening,
Wow.
does a great job of interacting with the crowd and getting a better idea of what they want to hear for the next mic or in the future. And that's how we started getting that idea for the mixed mic, because a lot of people were coming up to Cal saying that they were interested in.
Yeah. I mean, like, so back to like kind of going a little bit backward, but not too far. Like, I'm a second generation Jamaican. I was born in Reading, so like, you know what I mean. Maybe like 3 blocks from where we do our mic. So
Big
you know what I
ups for
mean.
that.
So it's like it's not even like you could probably like you could see where I was born. You know what I mean from the mic. But I think again, like Reading is not like this like super kind of like hunky dory place, like you know what I mean. And Pennsylvania just in general, like there's this there's hardworking people, and a lot of people get it out the mud. So you know what I mean. Like a lot of the time, people don't got jokes. You know what I mean. Like they just trying to sing out their heart. They're just trying to scream on the mic. You know they want you to feel them. You know what I mean. So. I think that just like with the little bit of makeup that our city has, we definitely have some people there. But I think there's a lot of hardship there as well. There's a lot of beautiful stories as well, a lot of sad stories. But I think that kind of just like when we had that transition from, because I kind of held my breath when we had that transition from a comedian to a poet, and like it was like the person was like sitting there writing the joke that was going to transition them into their set, and the energy didn't drop at all. You know what I mean? If anything, climbing, and I'm just sitting there like in the background, like everything is happening. But yeah,
And it just goes to show that people are into what we're providing. So want a space to do comedy, poetry, sing their songs, do covers of music, all anything that they just want to display their talent, and they need a place to do that. So that we're the spot that they can do that.
And the audience is just as important too, because like people are like, I don't have the talent, but like I want to see something. I'm tired of just going to a bar and watching the game on TV. Like I want to see something happen. And like, for me, I've always loved comedy ever since, even before I tried it. So like I always loved watching perform, like on on Comedy Central, Netflix, and all that. And like there is that connection watching the show, but going to an actual open mic and having like that experience live, you're hearing like inside jokes, you're able to really like feel like I've been somewhere that's like very different, that like no one else can really say they saw that. Like I was there, I saw that. So it's really cool to see a lot of like reoccurring audience members and a lot of new people come like, oh wow, like what's next week going to be like? Like is someone going to say like, is someone going to have like a really awesome poem, or someone going to say like this like hilarious joke? And then like now we have like this little extra like snippet of it, little inside joke with it too. So it's really cool to really see like this atmosphere always change, but it still be consistent of like, this is what we're trying to do.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely admire that. Any thoughts, Angela?
Absolutely. Of course, I have thoughts, Andy. Too many thoughts to really say, right?
Letting the
But
thoughts out.
yeah, I gotta let them out. But again, I really think the fact that you are diversifying into all medium opportunity, that is just going to create that expansion. And Calvin, I gotta say, I was kind of disappointed you didn't want to share your story, because I think that story is probably very important to the whole collection of who we are talking to today. But I actually want to go back to my first thought. Andy and I, we actually are perfect strangers. We've never met until after we started working together. I never knew him from a hole in the wall. And we had to develop, rapport and consistency just through this. You guys are friends from like a long time ago. Have you guys ever had an issue coming to an agreement on something? Have you guys ever had a tiff, a fight? Like, did somebody say I'm out of the group and then they came back? Like, what? Let's hear something. Something good had to
Oh,
happen.
she wants some kind of dirt.
Biblical, like Genesis, like Revelations, like we've argued.
We argue on what
Yo, she wants the Leviticus too, man. Like, what's going on here?
Old Testament. No, I mean, like, when you know someone for so long, I'm sure you guys can understand that. You know how people process and people think, and like, sometimes we all have the same goal, but we may be thinking in different perspectives. So that's where you do get that clash. But it's all out of love. There's no point where it's like we may have like an argument, disagreement, and we're like, I never want to talk to you again. Unfollow me. Like, it's all understanding. Like, we're here to get to one place. We may have different routes that we think we should take, but we all know where the goal's going. So
right,
like having that, having that back and forth, that push and pull, really lets everyone know, like, okay, like, we agree on like certain ideas, but maybe other ideas might not work. And it's funny because, like, because of us being able to, have this point of like contention, we've seen the evolution of MNC and of our mic grow into something that like has momentum.
Yeah.
So I really feel like being able to not just like, have yes men around you helps everyone grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amen.
that's because like we've known each other for so long. I feel like going into like a business together makes it a little hard sometimes to agree, because everybody has a voice, everybody wants to be heard and all that stuff. But we've done a great job of like figuring it out and understanding that when we disagree on something, I'm not trying to like
personal.
Be personal or discourage you or anything. We just want to get on the same page. And we've had talks. Every team has their situations and stuff, but we do a great job of overcoming all that. So
Yeah.
Amen. So
hold on, Andy. I gotta say something. Because there's three of y'all.
Yeah.
Do two gang up on one, or because you guys have your own kind of focus that makes it easier for those decisions to be had? And also, does he make you call him the principal comedian? Is that like how, like, is Matt
It makes
concerned?
me better. It does make me feel better. I'm not gonna
like
lie.
In meetings, is you have to refer to him as such? And if so, what are your titles?
Well, for me, I say that Matt's the primary comedian because I'm not gonna lie and say I'm a comedian. Like, I'm pretty funny. Like, when we're at a function and we're just having a good time.
Answer.
Comedy is a really talented profession.
Absolutely.
And I would never want to.
And
Does it?
Well, I want to say this too, because going back to the whole experience of why we're actually here tonight, I was actually very hesitant to actually want to perform because I did not want to disrespect the craft, because I honor the craft. I respect the craft. I've watched as many probably comedy things as maybe Matt has, but again, I have no ambition to be a comedian. I think I'm funny at times, but I know my students tell me I'm not, but it's okay. I'm funny to me, but that's why I was hesitant. So again, I hear that there's an academia to comedy.
right.
But is there?
But that's kind of like, no, but that's kind of like, I know Johnny Depp had a similar story, even though he wanted to do music, but he ended up doing acting instead. But he said he didn't. He had so much respect for the industry of music, and there's so much respect for the acting industry that he didn't want to disrespect it. That's why he never, let's say, stopped this and to transition to music. He just had too much respect for it. So I think in that same way, that's what you're talking about too, right? You feel like you respect it so much that you didn't want to feel like you were disrespecting the art of comedy and the art of poetry and stuff like that, right? That's what you're getting at too, Angela?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, God. She was like, yes. Like, what? Like, Oh, okay, you were muted. I get it.
No, I just was trying to be very Angela-like and very concise.
You know, we Matt's the comedian, Nelson's Timothy, and I'm Lord Bush. But yeah,
oh, thank you for the monikers. Thank you. That's not the
we all
when you guys come together. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, Nelson, that's awesome.
At the end of the day, that's what I think it comes down to.
Or Calvin.
But yeah, like I mean, I've had to humble myself a couple of times just because, like, you know what I mean, and they do good with, like, and I don't want to make it sound like the wrong way, but like these are my boys, so they know who I am, and you know what I mean. I'm going off on tangents for as far as you can imagine, you know what I mean. So they like we all.
Oh, I bet I could go a lot further than ever you've ever gone as far as tangents are concerned, right, Andy?
Probably make a whole podcast.
You better come on one of these mics. But like yeah, like they I think we all just like we keep each other grounded. You know what I mean? Like, and we keep each other humble, and I think that's like our strength. You know what I mean? I think that's our strength. I think that's what like really is making everything work right now.
And I disagree with you, but only because I think that is a byproduct of what your real strength is, and that is the fact that you love what you're doing and you're doing it for a good reason.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm disagreeing with you, but I'm also agreeing that the humility comes as a byproduct of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that. And like, you know, it's funny that you're saying like, you know,
Hilarious.
A lot of people hilarious.
Like that, man.
You don't want to like disrespect the craft, but it's a bit of a tangent. But like I know a couple comedians who are like they're in it for it, but some of their act is crazy disrespectful.
Oh wow.
But that's the thing with comedy. So it's like, you know, it is structured, like, you know, especially for me, like when I have my set, I have my jokes that I practice. But again, man, it's a lot of times I've seen it where they just go for it, get that good reaction, and it's interesting to always see like different blends of like for like different blends of comedians coming together and just seeing how like you're seeing like different styles, someone who's just like vulgar, crazy stuff to get a reaction, stuff who are amazing storytellers, who are able to like really like give you this vivid picture just to subvert you, to give you that laugh, and then, you know, have some.
And not just that, you have the conversational comedians, and then you also have comedians that wrote every single word and they memorized every single word that they wrote, and that's a different style as well.
No.
So
same with poetry.
Yes, it's the same with poetry too.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to come together, and that's why, like I said before, like, you know, poetry and comedy, they're on different sides of a coin, but still the same coin. So like you really
and if we come together, we can make a lot of cash. The whole coin's working together, right, Andy?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. If it makes dollars, it makes sense, right? Is that what it is?
Since the Benjamins, I love it.
Yeah. I love Benjamin. We just don't have a lot of it, unfortunately. I see too much Andrew Jacksons and Ulysses S. Grants.
No.
No.
And too many Benjamin Franklins. I mean, no, too many George Washingtons and Abraham Lincolns.
You guys are first open mic soon, right?
Wait, say that again? What?
You guys are doing your first open mic soon?
Yeah, on the 20th. Yes, everybody is welcome. Yes. Yeah. Hey, yeah, if you guys are free, event is free. If you want to sign up, just DM us, and you're more than welcome to attend. I mean, it'll be something different. Why not?
But not just that. As people who have been establishing a regular open mic, what is the best piece of advice you can give to Andy and myself so we don't fuck this up?
Yeah, because this is my first time hosting any kind of event, period. Like, I've been part of an event, but not hosting one and creating one. So that's a big difference.
Okay, it's great, because that was my first question. So you're going to be the host. So as the host, as I am also a host, and the best advice I could give you, like, understand, like, you have control. So, like, the energy you give off is what's affected by everybody else. And, you know, when trying to get established, I've learned, especially because, like, I've done for other mics, but not doing for my mic, that it's about having that type of connection with the people, so that they're like, oh my gosh, like even though I don't want to perform, I want to come and see you guys. And you're always willing, accepting. And I know for me, like I always try to have, you know, the welcoming energy, and I want everyone to come up. And like I've even spoken to people who were like hesitant to sign up. I'm like, hey man, it's an open mic. And that's why I always tell people it's an open mic. Anything's acceptable, anything's allowed. Like we're here, not only are people working on their stuff, but we're here to have freedom of expression and freedom of art. So always just keeping like those open arms in a sense, and always having, you know, making it fun. And everyone has different ways of making it fun. And, you know, finding your own craft, your own niche on like what makes your mic the mic that everyone wants to come to. And, you know, for us, it's having a great atmosphere. It's incorporating, you know, like the venue we're at, and, you know, incorporating, you know, like good times, good vibes, and just really finding our niche within it as well. So I think the first few weeks for you guys, you're going to be like, wow, this is great, this is awesome. But then you'll really see like, all right, this is like, it's not consistent. We can see how to improve on it too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take note.
Always have fun. That's what I can always say. If you have fun, everyone else is going to have fun. So it's
Amen.
relevant to being fun, not serious. Because I've seen mics where like serious. Like you get the 5 minutes, and if you go over 5 minutes, I'm going to berate you. Like, no, let there be flexibility. Because
Exactly.
So you guys mentioned the venue, although please let me know if there's more advice to be had, because I'm all about learning. But
I was saying about for our first 2 or 3 open mics, we had a separate notebook that we would just write notes in, interacting with the crowd, and what they liked, what they may thought that could be improved, and what they wanted to see on stage. And that really helped us, you know, excel and propel our mic to where it is today.
Amen.
so that's incredible. I think that's really important to have that extra set of notes, because your memory might not remember those things that you remember in the moment, especially when it comes to not the craft itself, but the organization or the structure. Oh, we should have put the table over here, or the mic was bad over this side, or whatever. Those little things, they do add up and they do matter.
Of course. Yeah.
Could we talk about the venue? Because I feel like I have not had an opportunity to ask you about, again, if you are just joining us, or if you're watching the replay and you're anywhere near the state of Pennsylvania, or anywhere near the city of Reading, Pennsylvania, on every Thursday, you can go and participate, or at least hang out with these three down here next to me. It's comedy. There's a comedy focus, but they are open to poetry. They're not closed off. They're not closed-minded. But can you talk about the name of the venue and the venue itself, and what you love about the venue?
Yeah, so the venue is called Reading Distilling Guild. The biggest thing that we all liked about is that it's in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
So it's you're right there. So you're able to really, like, as you're driving in, you get to see like what Reading's all about. You get to go in, you get like, and going into the venue itself, like
It's a beautiful view.
It's a beautiful view, and like just like how we like to have multiple types of like mediums and art is all around the place. You know, they have a beautiful scenery, they have beautiful paintings everywhere. You get to see posters, flyers, you know, you get to really feel like you're not only part of this venue, but kind of like in a sense like a mini museum of Reading. Yeah. Like you're able to really see like what makes this place all about. You have like photos and posters of like the railroad, because like, you know, Reading Railroad, you've all played Monopoly, like, hey, like we're
Yeah.
so, and you know, it just really just gives people a good perspective of like what this city's about. Because I mean, you know, if you Google Reading, Pennsylvania, you might not get like the best view of us, but really coming into the mic and seeing us, you'd see like, oh, like these are just passionate, caring, exciting, energetic, and creative people. And I think the best part for me is like the way this venue is set up is like it has 2 floors. So like you got like the first floor where we're at, perfect for like an open mic, but there's an upstairs part where you can do like big showcases, have a more intimate but very amazing setup and stage. And like we're really able to incorporate a lot of things we want to do just in this venue alone, and help us, like I said, create the base in Reading right here at the Reading Distilling Guild.
And the space is
And you,
I'm sorry.
no, I just want to say you definitely will get a sense of downtown Reading because of all the stop signs. You can't help but take notice of all the beauty that is around there. Because if you haven't been to Reading, check it out. Stop signs galore, but it's fun. It's great. And again, you can go to the heart of the city on Thursdays. And what time was that?
So we do like we always say open doors 7:30. Sign up at 8, and then the show starts at 8:30. But we kind of depending on I start a little bit later. So try to get here at 8:30, and then we'll start when we feel everyone's all ready to go.
Sometimes life happens, and you're running, so we don't mind starting a little later if we have to.
Yeah. Because the funny thing that's the vibe you all are creating, and that's that cool vibe that we're here to be together, and we're going to be together when we feel like it because people are getting settled in. Now, Nelson, I think, or Calvin, we were cutting you off before. What were you going to say?
I think that like the space is a canvas. So like when I remember like about 2 years ago, I was like, man, I think we're ready to do something in town. You know what I mean? And I was like, he was like, but where? And I was like, bro, like we could just add like I've been in like the food and like restaurant and customer service industry forever. So I've tripped over the Reading Rover walking to work so many times. You know what I mean? But like I was like, you know what I mean? Like there has been times at the Reading Distillery Guild when they've had like art bazaars, they've had fashion shows, they've had everything. So like that space is almost like a canvas, you know what I mean? And people just come, and the one of the owners, Chris Flowers, like he's from the city, so like he's living a hood dream within himself, like, so it's just like he's kind of leading the way. And you know what I mean? Like we have so many people that are doing it on like their own and just pushing themselves forward, and that's kind of like a church almost in our like city amongst creatives. So like to have that as like our starting venue is like nuts for me. Like every Thursday, like you know what I mean? Like so it's like
it's a beautiful blessing.
It don't feel real sometimes.
Yeah.
It's crazy that we have that venue to do our mics, because before we even started this, I used to drive by the Building Guild with my cousin all the time. We always used to say like, damn, I wonder what's over there, because the light is beautiful, the view there is beautiful. It looks like a great time. And a couple years later, now we're hosting events there. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh, Andy, this is so incredible. Yeah. I just have a few more things because unfortunately with all the crazy like shenanigans that happened at the beginning, I think we're maybe even close to over that hour mark, but I wanted to ask this, or actually no, I want to make this point, Andy. Again, it's the love that you have for the city. That's what I find really admirable, that you guys are building a community that's going to then, of course, add more to it. And you seem to have the same feeling about Bayonne, and that's why you chose to host our first open mic in your hometown. And again, Andy's wife is actually the one who found out there was interest from the public. So I'm seeing that you probably are also gaining that same interest from around, because again, the people who are from Reading are staying in Reading and they're living in Reading and they want to bleed goodness into Reading. So Andy, you want to talk about Bayonne real quick?
So I've lived there for 5 years, but I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. It's a different dynamic, and it's mostly quiet. So it's like it's like suburbanish, but it has like some kind of a city-ish life, but not too crazy, because there's like this one strip called Broadway, and it's just pretty much mom and pop shops, 99-cent store, Walmart, and all this other stuff. And to me personally, it's too quiet, right? But when I was doing Unraveled Influence, when I first rebranded this and everything like that, something I always wanted to do was to give back, right? To have a voice be heard. So one day, this as far as like this open mic, this all started from a joke that my brother-in-law said, right? He said, "Oh yeah, I'm part of an open mic. I got booed off the stage at Shorty's." Like, that was just a joke. He always likes to crack jokes, and I'm just like, but then in that joke, I said, wait a second, but what if, right? Because there was only one other place that had an open mic one time, but then that was it. It never happened again. And I'm like, wait a minute. So there's this community on Facebook called Bayonne Talks, and she was asking just random, hey, is there a place for open mics here in Bayonne? And everybody said, oh no, there used to be just this one, but that was it. And they were all like, oh, but man, that'd be cool to have something like that here. And so many people commented, and my wife was telling me about it, and I was like, okay, so there's a high demand for that. So that's when I realized, and when me and Angela was talking to the bartender, the people who own the bar that we're gonna have the place at, they always do karaoke nights, they have a pool league, but no one ever did have open mic there, and it seems to be a high demand. It seems to be something that, oh wait, we never did that before. And as I was bringing the flyers and the posters over there, the owner was actually excited for this event because this is something that's never been done before. And I figured, hey, if there's one thing that's missing in this town is art, poetry, music, that's missing, right? Because they have the farmers market, they sell stuff once in a while, but they don't have art. They don't have like a place like that. Because I'm used to New York. So, there's the comedy clubs and there's the Broadway theaters, there's all this shit, right? But, but they don't have, and then there's even bars that will host like wrestling events in New York. This is all New York, but they don't have stuff like that in Bayonne. And I feel like I wanted to take advantage of that. And that's why I feel like, I feel like one thing about Bayonne, and I don't want to talk about Bayonne, but it's a very politically correct town. It's one of those I was like, bro, I was one time, like, for example, one day I was like, hey, what's going on, boss? And say, yo, no, I'm not your boss, bro. Like, I'm like, okay, like, I wasn't trying to offend nobody, but I feel like there's so much, I don't want to say negative. It's just the vibe's just weird, right? And it's something I always wonder why that is, right? I'm not saying New York is any better either, but Bayonne is just a whole different thing. And I'm just like, if I could bring art in a positive aspect, because I know there's a high demand, I know making a lasting impact would be important, because I've done it here. We've done it here on the Instagram poetry community, but I wanted to expand outside of that. And I've seen everybody else starting to do things, and I'm just like, if Unraveled could do something, it would be that. And when me and Angela went to the owners, and we spoke, and they're like, oh my God, I think that's a great idea because you're doing something nice, something different for the community, and it's open to the public too on top of that. So like I said, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of people coming that I'm like, okay. I was like, Angela, I think we might have overbooked, but it is what it is.
You know what?
No
You
one's
overbooked because half of them aren't going to show up, at least. You know how it goes. Come on. But Andy brought up a good point.
But the
because,
point
the
is,
owners
yeah.
of the bar said the same thing to us. They asked about atmosphere. Here's what I'm concerned about as the bar owner, that maybe some of the patrons don't like what's being said. What's your plan? So, and for Andy to bring up the political correctness, they were very concerned about the lack of diversity as far as their clientele might not be open to some of the words. But I'm like, no, it's going to be fine. But what I wanted to say about that is actually was writing like that. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you this, and this may be the realest rawest part of this. Honestly, you gotta just let it rock. Like, you can't, because at the end of the day, if they're making money, they're not gonna sit there and talk. They're not gonna, it's not gonna matter what the few say. You know what I mean? If that place is packed and they're selling beers and they're selling liquor, at the end of the day, it's not gonna matter what one person has to say. And you got to be bold to the culture.
Absolutely.
You can't sit there and be of mice and men. Like, you got to go in there with your boots on and
yeah.
You know what I mean? This is what's gonna happen.
I teach ninth graders, dude. I can control a room.
Okay.
All right, I can control a room. But they were actually just concerned because they wanted to support us because they wanted to have that same art infusion. But I really want to go back to your side of town before we close shop. Are you guys feeling the same? Is the community accepting? Is writing ready for this, or are you guys experiencing some of that?
Wait a second. So, for me as the host, and kind of I give a thing, Reading, definitely, we were not really a politically correct area. Anything gets said, and as a host, got a little advice for you guys. I'll have people come up to me oh, is it all right if I say this, if I say that? And I'm like, hey, anything goes. Like if you're doing comedy, if it's funny, it's funny. And like if it's poetry, meaningful, it's meaningful. So that's where it's like you have to control there. And kind of like what Calvin was saying is like you could be the eye of that storm in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
You could really change that atmosphere just with your place, and you're only doing it for a day. So like even if the patrons are like, oh, I don't like today, but you have whole new people coming in, and like if the mic is louder than them being offensive, why worry?
Yeah.
Amen.
Everybody eats.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
And like I sometimes feel like there isn't a line that can't be crossed because like there's so much diversity, and everyone knows like, you know, when you hear a comedian say a joke, like if it's funny, it's funny, but like if it's funny, they're gonna know because they'll say the crazy stuff and not get a reaction like, oh well, you know, it just didn't land. So having the audience with their own presence have their own say, it kind of gives that somewhat of a filter in a sense. But like also putting your foot down and saying like, you know, we're not gonna bend to the knee of people who feel offensive. Everyone here is having a great time. We're gonna keep doing this because we know that it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and I definitely agree with you on that. I think that's important. I'm all about, you know what, whatever happens, happens. At the end of the day, I know we're all gonna have a good time. Because I feel like one thing I've learned in life, whether it's a job or the surrounding circle, there's always gonna be that one person or that few couple of people here and there. But that should not deter the outcome, right? I always feel like, okay, that's just one of those obstacles that happens, but now we're gonna make the best of it, and and I've had situations like that too, even on this platform, like online, but we managed to overcome it, and we're still growing no matter what. It's just little stepping stones that we have to go through sometimes just to get to where we want to go to. So at the end of the day, everything you said was just spot on.
Yeah. And again, there's so many different people doing so many different creative things, whether you're building it in your hometown and people are coming to you, or if you're somebody like me who refuses to try and be who they are in their hometown and they just go far, far away and then they become who they are. You know what I mean? There's so many different people. Poets don't travel. Some comedians do. I don't think we want to get into that. But Andy, do you want to start wrapping some stuff up? Because here's what I want to ask the three of them before you do your whole spiel. You guys have been friends for a long time, and that's what's made it easier. Additionally, if you guys are just joining us, we are talking to MNC Corporation, which is this amazing trio, and they're not all comedians. No, but they are all funny, and they all have pure intentions of being who they are and creating that space for people to be there. Down the line, what are you going to build from here?
Well, we have a couple of events coming up right now. So in October 28th, Saturday, we have a Halloween showcase for comedians where everybody's going to be able to dress up and, have a good time. Anything you want to add about that?
Yeah. So like I said, this is, instead of like an open mic showcase, so we have like comedians who are there. They're doing their stuff. They're actually in costume, and they're going to perform there in that costume. It's going to be retained to that. And then we're also going to have after the show, we're going to have dance the night away. We're going to have we're going to have music. We're going to be able to have just a good entertainment time for that 28th on that Saturday. But we're also expanding on more, having more interactive events with people, whether it be doing board games and stuff like that, really having more interaction with the audience instead of them just sitting there and listening. They're actually
the hook. Why else would I want to be there?
Exactly.
And also we're trying to reach out to different demographics. So I work at a rec center for kids, and once a month we from 8 to 12 midnight we have an event called Nights at the Rec, where kids, instead of being in the street, they'll come to the rec, play basketball, play games, stay up the street, and enjoy activities. So my job knows about what I do with FD, and they want us to have a youth mic for the teenagers and high schoolers. So we're going to work on that for November and try to reach these kids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, that's
Amen.
incredible. I definitely want to hear more about that when you do that, because that tugs at my heartstrings. Annie, actually, this is my last question for the three of them, and it's really not technically for Matt, but I'm going to ask the other two, but it really is about more of the comedian side. So I know for a quasi fact that poets can do comedy. It can be done. But can comedians do poetry?
Yeah, no, like I said before, like Matt floored me. I don't know, Matt. You wanna bust that joint out online?
Yeah, I got it right here. Hold on.
Yeah, we about to bring it right to y'all live.
Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh no.
No, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
So wait,
I never like.
I must have missed this because I had to go pick up my children from the football game that ended. Apparently, nobody told me.
No, you're good.
What happened with this poem? There's a poetry story. Like he wrote a poem and it's so good.
Well, yeah, no, so yeah, no, nah, Matt is just a box of surprises. So like, I mean, like I've known Matt again since I was in the 9th grade, and you know what I mean. Like it's just like just watching everything evolve. Like you know what I mean. Like, and he was hosting. He didn't talk to us about dropping a poem on us. So like we're like, all right, we've seen Matt like do his little hosting bit, like at that point 7 times. You know what I mean. So like, and he's, oh yeah, but by the way, I'm feeling something. And he just dropped it on us, and I was like, "Whoa, wait!" But you know,
I'm so mad I missed this discussion in the beginning because now this is the real story here. Okay,
yeah, but no,
we have a poem here.
I mean,
okay.
But before I start to answer your question, yes, I do think comedians can do poetry. Like yesterday, we were telling Andy that like there was a comedian who did like a funny poem and it killed. But like you can also do poem with like meaning, sustenance. So this doesn't have a title, but like I feel like you guys can definitely resonate. So I'll just start with this. So I've prophesized my demise 100 times to find the steps to take for a peaceful mind. Yet I've swayed towards my vice, entangled myself with mice. I am called the Rat King. I sit on my throne of vile and debauchery, telling myself I found prosperity. Looking up at a sky I'll truly never see, echoes of laughter in my chamber I struggle to remember. Dark, cold, silent are my thoughts. Though I see a speck of light from afar, I unravel my crown of vermin to take steps out to see the speck grow. I ask to wait, hold on, don't go. My hesitation has shackled my legs. As a statue, I'm frozen through, though my consciousness is still in motion. Feeling tales coil around me, bringing me back to where I started. I wake up in my room. My clock says to me, good afternoon. Another day has been taken from me by me, my own worst enemy. Though I may have lost this battle, I feel a sense of calm as the war goes on. As each second passes, know there are more coming our way. 24 hours is short, but I still will have a long day.
Wow. Wow. Oh.
you know what I'm saying?
I hit a white flag to wave the white flag. I mean, I can't even say anything. He destroyed
Don't take my words.
way more than I destroyed comedy.
I retire. Sorry, Rainier, but I retire from poetry.
So, Matt, have you ever considered becoming a poet as opposed to a comedian?
I think he's oh my god, I was trying to put 2 words together to
That's hard.
a poet. I think he's a poet. He's a comedian and a poet.
Stoppable right there. That's a stoppable comment. Let's move on.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answered my question. I can't even hate. I can't even make fun. That was pretty fucking good. The Rat King, the clock. I mean, can you post that on my I need to reread that and really take that in and dissect who this person is who wrote this poem, whether it's you or a character in your mind that just had to pull some stuff out from the inside. Because
hey, Adam is a collaborator on that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We gotta feature that on our page, bro. If you don't mind, that'd be great.
I mean, it's very rare, but sometimes I'm wrong.
I can post that on my page, and then I can send you like a script as well. You can post it on your page too. So like, you know, I just think, you know, like for me, just being like an artist itself, like you're always able to just go to different media, kind of just like flex that creative muscle, and being able to do that, out of that and getting out of that one box that you know you're comfortable in, dig into something else, I always try to do. Because like I remember before I even did like this whole open mic stuff, me and Nelson used to rap.
Oh, can we get some of that too? Can we get some of that too?
Oh my God.
I want to hear some of this. Forget the poetry. Let's go back. Let's go to this.
It's a thing, but like it's just like we're able to really be expressive and stuff.
Guys are joking.
And I just always feel that like being able to just whatever you're passionate about, just do it, and then you're able to really see like your talent grow. And I do think like there could be a niche for me to also do comedy as well, just to express that also, because they both can work at the same time. Because I feel like I can make a joke about the poem I made, and like vice versa, and like some of my jokes can be turned into like very meaningful poetry as well. So for anyone that's listening, if you think you can only do comedy or you think you can only do poetry, just take another perspective of it and really see what you can do. I think you'll be surprised.
Absolutely. Do you guys have anything else to add to that? Because I know Andy's going to go and do our traditional last question closure. But do you guys have anything else to add to that?
No,
I think that was everything. I hit it right on the head.
So thank you guys for showing up tonight. Despite the technical okay, here we go. I'm frozen. Hold on, sorry. Okay. Despite the technical difficulties, I just want to thank you guys for just, saying yes to us and having this conversation with us about, what inspired you to do everything and the different things you can do. And because this is very important, right? Providing that place to be a voice of the voiceless is important, where if a person never found their voice, then they can find their voice now. And I think that's very important. So thank you so much for that. So I always ask everybody, I feel like I say this exactly the same way. I always ask everybody this. After we live on, we die, we're not here in this life anymore. What would you like to leave behind? What do you hope for as far as a lasting impact, or just anything that when people talk about you guys, right? What would you like to be remembered for and why?
I think we should give our own separate answers. So I want to see what Cal.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so for me, like, just like without getting too deeply into my story, like I did say, like I'm a second generation Jamaican, so like just like breaking these like different chains of like poverty, and just like just being like a trailblazer within my little family unit. Because a lot of the time people they go down the trails they know, so I mean, just like trying to create a new path, and not just for people that are directly within my family, just like people that are within my community. So if I could speak like for myself, that's what I want. But I mean, if we could do that at the MNC level, I think that is also beautiful too. I think like a lot of what we have in mind is not really been done before. So, I mean, just trying to just push the limits, But that's
Pretty much capitalizing on what Cal said. Also, just so people can know that just because you might not see the light at the end of the tunnel right now doesn't mean that it's not there. Because I feel like individually, all three of us have gone through so much to get to this point, which I feel like is a big reason that we got together and started this. And we want to show people that you can express yourself the way you want to and believe in what you believe in, and everything's going to turn out okay. And you'll always have a platform to do that in.
Yeah. And I think for me, I definitely resonate with both of them, but mine might be a little bit different. I just want people to, when they hear MNC, know that we tried, and that since we tried, we were able to do. And even putting out of my perspective, they want to know like who is Matthew, who is Gabe. I want them to be like, oh, I want my name bigger than the guy from iCarly. That's like another thing too. I really want them to know when they think kind of like in Hercules, like I want my name to be
up in the stars,
painted
man.
in the stars.
Mm.
Them to know that like my that got me here is something that can be replicated too. So it's not just, oh, it was a one-time fluke, right place, right time. There's effort to make the time to be the right thing to do.
Sorry, I
Oh, no.
reacted because our earlier person that we interviewed from Project 1111, the same question was asked, and he basically said one sentence, that I tried in my life. And I was like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? Because you're doing more than that. So when you started with a try, I'm like, oh no, here we go again, Andy. People who just say they want to try when it's really so much more than that. Andy, I know you were going to close it out right now. So just thank you guys so much. Definitely want to reach out. Definitely see you guys on Thursdays in Reading, Pennsylvania, but you can always check them out online. And there's merch for sale. Always check out the merch, the merch, the merch.
And we trying
No doubt. So,
to get to 100 followers on Instagram. So
all right, follow, guys. Come on. You heard them. You heard it right here at Unraveled Influence.
That's like
So,
a
guys, thank you so much for
Sella. So
just,
we got to get them to 100.
yeah,
We can't do this for nothing.
yeah.
Come on,
Let's do
everybody.
200.
Poets and comedians, we love each other.
run it up.
Appreciate y'all for having us, man.
Thank you again.
Word. No doubt. So, thank you so much, guys.